Trapped and cornered by Sarah Gaunt and the trustees, will Rogue and the other mutants be able to rise to the occasion and endure the onslaught? Well, let's hop into the pages of Uncanny X-Men issue number 5 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So that as we join the issue, I was surprised as anyone to see Anne-Marie taking a diction class to try and unlearn her just cute as a button trademark accent. And truth be told, it's not going too well, not just because in reality she's actually bleeding out on the forest floor after her disastrous battle with Mother ended in the last issue. In fact, now Sarah Gaunt is even going as far as to threaten scalping Rogue to wear her hair as some sort of macabre trophy. Poor Anne-Marie better get it together, and soon too, as she's still the team's only hope of surviving the night, as back at the house where the mutants have been hiding, Fawn and an army of trustees are getting ready to attack. The numbers are certainly not in our hero's favor now. There's only a handful of actual trained X-Men and the rest are a bunch of scared children on the run. Then you throw in the fact that Wolverine barely survived the last issue, and suddenly hope is in very short supply. Thankfully, Gambit is here to take the reins and heroically lead everyone into battle. In fact, we get a very funny exchange between Gambit and Wolverine where he's asked, hey, do you have any more playing cards? Only for him to say, well, I'm fresh out, but thankfully Marcus's daughter hooked me up with her trading card collection. You know, the ones with colorful little monsters on them. Later in the issue, it's actually revealed that they're brute force cards, but let's face it, they're Pokemon cards. Remy is fighting with Pokemon cards. Now, while all that is going on, Rogue ends up finding herself in a sparse white room, not of the Hot or Phoenix variety, in case you're wondering. It's here she comes face to face with Harvey X, the dying little boy that the X-Men team had gone to comfort all the way back in issue 1. It seems that he's actually been way more involved in the proceedings of this story than you might have thought. You see, despite his body being sick and frail and dying, Nightcrawler was actually unaware of just how powerful a psychic this kid is. In fact, he seemed to have some sort of foresight, being able to predict not just his own death, but the death of all of those new mutants at the hands of Sarah Gaunt. It was because of that he actually willingly sacrificed himself by touching Rogue at the hospital, in doing so endowing her with his own power so that she could hopefully stay one step ahead of Mother's attacks, which she has been all issue long. He didn't tell Rogue because he knew that she would never go along with it, but at the same time, in his heart of hearts, he always wanted to be an X-Men, always wanted to do something that mattered, even with the short amount of time he had left on this Earth. And honestly, this whole exchange is just so tragic and sweet and well played. Gail Simone really is a master at tugging on the reader's heartstrings, and I don't think she gets enough credit for that in her work. Now, another interesting thing about the big fight in this issue is that most of the narration duty is actually handled by Jubilee of all people. And I suppose when we think about it a little more, it actually makes a lot of sense. Jubilee says that she wasn't all that different from these kids they're actively trying to protect now. She was probably never meant to be a fighter or a soldier, and yet time and time again she has risen to the occasion and fought proudly alongside her friends in hopes of protecting everything they hold dear. And it would seem that Jitter, Death Dream, Ransom, and the others are quick learners too, because it's not long before they're right out there in the field fighting side by side with the older X-Men. Hell, Nightcrawler even gives the kids the opportunity to turn tail and run should they want if the fight starts turning against the good guys, but you know what? They stay and fight even harder. Also, for the record, Jitter continues to be my absolute favorite of these new mutants, as during the fight she makes a big reference to Jeet Kune Do, which is the special martial art created by Bruce Lee. In the end, it's actually Gambit who is the real MVP of this fight, not just because he helped rally the others, but also when things were looking grim, he used his Eye of Agamotto to blast back the trustees, even though this was an incredibly dangerous move, as Gambit doesn't really know how to control this magical relic, and there was a good chance that it probably could have killed him just as easily. The real battle, though, is of course still very much with Rogue against Mother. With Harvey's help, she's able to shake off the whole almost being dead thing and even gets healed, thanks to Harvey as well. Apparently he also had some latent healing abilities, which is probably why he was able to live with his disease as long as he was. With this second chance on life, Rogue throws herself into the battle and holds absolutely nothing back. She knocks 10 pounds of crap out of Mother, before also delving into Sarah Gaunt's mind to play a little emotional warfare as well. She sees her failed relationship with Xavier, the loss of her son, and how all this anger against mutant kind really stems from the idea that Sarah feels that mutants stole Xavier away from her, that he loved them more, and that they could have had a happy life were it not for mutant kind. Ultimately, Mother is defeated and the kids she was after are saved, but this is still something of a sad ending. Harvey has one last conversation with Rogue, saying that once his powers leave her body, he will truly be gone forever. Rogue tries her best to send him on his way with a smile though, saying that in the end he truly was an X-Men and that he's actually the one who really saved the day when you stop and think about it. In fact, her final words to him as she looks out on the sunrise over the bayou is "Fly, Blackbird, fly," which honestly, if that didn't make you just a little bit misty-eyed, I think you're made of stone. Of course, a lot of this now begs the question, now that Sarah Gaunt is defeated, what the hell are the X-Men going to do with her? She's way too dangerous to all these young mutants that they've recently taken in, and because of that, Rogue ends up actually kind of compromising her morality by taking Mother back to the Grey Malkin Institute and Dr. Ellis. Again, the Doctor is pretty mad at Sarah for going into business for herself, meaning that it looks like the tables are going to turn and the mutant catcher just became the mutant prisoner. For what it's worth though, Rogue isn't shy about saying exactly what she thinks about Dr. Ellis. She tells her and the others not to get comfortable here at Grey Malkin because this place used to be their home. And given enough time, it's a certainty that the X-Men will return to the Xavier Institute once more, again probably setting up the events of Raid on Grey Malkin coming soon. And so that was Uncanny X-Men issue number 5, everybody, and once again Gail Simone and company managed to deliver an incredibly strong, incredibly effective, incredibly stacked finale to this first brand new From Ashes story arc. And in fact, not only is this good, I think it might actually be the best, most complete feeling X-Men book on the shelf right now, which is saying something because there's something great out there for every taste. Rogue has a really fun journey here about learning to trust herself and really growing into the role as a leader. The New Mutants are great too and go through their own little mini arc about learning what it means to be an X-Men and learning to rise to the occasion when the going gets tough. And hey, you know what? Sarah Gaunt Mother ended up being a really fun, really cool, and really creepy take on an X-Men villain. I certainly hope to see her again, and I get the feeling we're gonna. Action was good, art was good. I can really only give this one a much-deserved 9 out of 10, and I can't wait to see where the next story takes us. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.